Racial disparities and gun violence. Every person born in America is gifted with equal access and opportunity to pursue one's own individual American dream. One can be anything one wants to be, with a desire to learn, practice a good work ethic, and have a strong commitment to whatever that one pleases, whether it's becoming a doctor, opening a business, or being elected president of the U.S. Although every man and woman in the U.S. has equal access to resources, opportunity may not be in arm's reach. Opportunity is in the U.S. is alive and well, but African Americans are at a disadvantage because they are plagued by violence within their communities. Gun violence disproportionately affects communities experiencing economical inequalities, including racially segregated neighborhoods and concentrated poverty. In the U.S. annually, 6,000 African American men are murdered with guns, and although they only represent 6% of the U.S. population, they account for more than one half of all homicides. Research has demonstrated that the urban violence is connected with social disorder, such as physical deterioration of urban landscapes, vacant lots, and buildings, and graffiti. It sends a message that there is a lack of social order and criminal activity is tolerated, which further suppresses the quality of life for its residents. A study was completed studying the health burdens on white and black Americans alike. It was a cross-sectional study which compared potential years of life lost across 39 causes of death experienced by Americans. Its conclusion: black Americans are disproportionately affected by firearm-related homicides. The study found that homicide was the number one leading cause of death for black Americans and heart disease for white Americans. Despite that, this study has concluded funding for homicide research was of little interest for the federal government, compared to 341 federal grants and 594 publications regarding heart disease. Violent neighborhoods also affect ones not directly involved in any criminal mischief. For children, violent cities affect multiple aspects of lives, including aggression, cognitive stress, stricter parenting, and mistrust in the educational system. They are undesirable characteristics for one to have because it is important for children to become proficient in reading by the third grade level in order to excel later in their educational career. Exposure to violence is detrimental to cognitive development and academic engagement. Additionally, more exposure to violence leads to a higher chance of an individual becoming directly involved with violence. The city of Chicago is working to reduce firearm-related homicides by enacting a gun violence reduction program called Violence Reduction Strategy, or VRS, which aims to reduce violence in specific neighborhoods by sitting down with suspected gang members involved in pursuits and change their behavior. In addition to members of street gangs, law enforcement, the community and social service provides a 10 VRS call-ins to deliver a clear message: put the guns down. It's clearly spoken that continued criminal activity will be met with full consequences of the law. Is this strategy effective? The results suggest that gang members who attend VRS call-ins experience a 23% reduction in overall firearm shootings and 32% reduction in firearm-related injuries and homicides. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is taking steps to reduce gun violence in its city as well, but not by meeting urban terrorists, but rather remediation of abandoned buildings and vacant lots. Philadelphia is looking to reduce its urban decay by landscaping and maintaining vacant lots that have a park-like setting, and adding functioning doors and windows to vacant lots that were otherwise accessible for criminal use. The city recognizes that urban decay incentivizes criminals to act and cultivates an environment which encourages criminal activity. Research strongly suggests blighted neighborhood environments are strongly tied to firearm violence in the United States and cities across the U.S. Philadelphia is combating the issue by making positive investments into their communities. As a result of the city's efforts to curb firearm violence, it saw significant reductions. Abandoned buildings remediation resulted in a decrease of firearm violence of 39%, and the vacant lot remediation saw a decrease of almost 5%. Firearm violence in the U.S. is estimated to be larger than any other developed nation. Essentially, the U.S. is the most dangerous country amongst the remainder of the developed world. Firearms are responsible for a majority of fatal violence, and which disproportionately affects African Americans. Cities like Chicago and Philadelphia recognize that firearm violence is a plague on both of the cities' populations and are working to lessen the violence. It's imperative that violence in these communities is reduced so quality of life increases and aggression amongst their youth does not affect cognitive development and future opportunities to become doctors, business owners, or the President of the United States is affected.